Primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the bright center of the galaxy, I'm Grex Kondak, and you're listening to Core World News, your whole news service providing in-depth coverage for the latest stories from around the galaxy. Welcome to a special edition of the Pillars of Star Wars, Creatures and Aliens. Now for your hosts, Ben, Grant, and Adam, to discuss the many aliens and creatures that populate the Star Wars galaxy.
All right. Thank you very much, Grex.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Welcome back, Grant. Welcome back, Grex. Good to have you here.
Those names sound similar.
Yeah,
a little.
And once again, it's just
no relation.
Completely random that they were
It's a
both out on the
strange
same night. Yeah,
No,
things happen.
Work that way. I like Tam Sheck too, but he was a good fit.
Yeah.
Appreciated him there. Guys. Great to see you again. Great to be doing another pillar. We're just going to keep hammering away on these pillars because I feel they're important. I think we feel they're important and they're fun to talk about because they're what sort of differentiates Star Wars and what makes them cool from other sci-fi and other great stuff. So this week we are going to talk about creatures and aliens. This was originally going to be a three-pronged thing where it was like droids, creatures, and aliens, but I think we just were like, let's just talk about droids this week, and then proceeded to talk about that for about
2 hours,
an hour and a half. 2 hours.
We were thinking about, doing creatures as its own thing and aliens as its own thing as well. But this is going to work, guys. We're going to fit it all in because we got so many more pillars to get through. So there's a lot we can talk about though with this.
Yes, actually, I finally tried to organize ourselves a little bit, and if you go on our Discord server, and now we're very organized now. On you can find us Core World News at Twitter or Instagram, and if you go into our bio, we have a link tree, and it has all the links to all the different ways you can listen to us, listen to the podcast. But it also has our Discord invite now. So if you want to chat with us on our Discord, the invite's right there for anyone who wants to click the link. And we just got a new member today. Is it Rocket Ball?
Rocket Dell.
Welcome.
I know he's a listener. Great person, great guy. Hopefully we'll have him on the show soon. But there's going to be a game at the end. I hope he's playing along with us because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So, we're going to keep building up these pillars. And if you go onto the Discord pillars group, I just updated episode numbers for all the pillars that we've done so far. If you get into it or want to listen to it, otherwise, we're going to keep going with these episodes, and then we're going to do a wrap when we're done. But the droids episode was episode 138. So if you want to listen to that, that's there. It has episode numbers for all of those. But this week we have aliens and creatures. You want to start with some alien talk right now? Talk about the aliens in Star Wars?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds easy and
this is a tough one to approach, right? Because do we talk about it for, chronologically, like the order of the films, like episode 1 to 9, or do you want to dive in when in release order, or we go back to 4, and then work through the original trilogy? Because I feel like we gotta pay tribute to the original trilogy because that's where they really started to give these alien prosthetics screen time and like really explore makeup and special effects with puppetry and all that sort of stuff in the original trilogy. And I think they were very daring to do so then. And it's almost like we should just start there. Start with Jawas and Tuskens almost.
I'm always a fan of release order, right? That's how I like to have discussion because it's the production order. But I think maybe a good place to start even before that is talk a bit about, what do we mean by including aliens as a pillar? Like what makes that a pillar of Star Wars? What do we mean by alien? Not like a literal definition of it, but what do we expect to see in a Star Wars movie when it comes to aliens?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think actually Casual Jason brought it up. Like in Galaxy, they should be called non-humans, not aliens. They should be called non-human. I mean, makes one sense because it's kind of myopic if you just call them aliens. But if we don't have aliens in Star Wars, we have a much different sci-fi story. We have The Expanse or something, right?
Yeah,
it's
the
not
non-humanoid characters are really special because I think Star Wars was, one of the first sci-fi franchises to do them in a way where it felt just super immersive, and you really just believed when you saw these makeup and prosthetic,
And I
faces.
think
They're
that
beautiful.
makeup and prosthetics is important because I think what you might hear a bit from me tonight is distinction from Star Trek, which is probably another close sci-fi property that has a lot of aliens in it. Now, granted, this is comparing a TV show from the 1960s to a major motion picture more than a decade later, or about a decade later. So you have differing costs and ability to do stuff. But when you look at the aliens from the original Star Trek series, they were just humans with like a prosthetic here, a different skin color that we don't see on Earth, ears, things like that. So that's part of the thing, is that when you get to Star Wars, these are fully prosthetic, really the closest we've seen in a long time in movies to just non-humanoid, right? Like just fully quote unquote alien.
And you got to think George was, influenced by like Ray Harryhausen and the early sort of like, stop motion attempts with monsters. And
I was about to say, especially when we get to the creatures,
trying to do that lifelike and sort of live action it is kind of amazing and kind of daring. And I think they pulled it off. Like the obviously the original trilogy just was, spectacular in terms of its visuals, but I think you never lost focus of the world and the story when you're in those places, where in other films you'd kind of take you out if you saw bad makeup or creature design that was moving strange or something. It just, everything was just so sharp in the original trilogy. I think just the production work overall was amazing.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, they started with such a high bar. I think the first non-human you see in A New Hope are Jawas, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, it's like very subtle. It was just like red eyes or yellow eyes, in dark hood, and they're small and like sort of
red eyes are off-world Jawas.
Thank you, yellow eyes. Thank you, Grant. But it was done. It was like some sort of creature that's like of your memory, but it instantly is like, oh my gosh, we're in a different world. What is all this? And then Tuskens, and you're like, wait, those are not Jawas. It's like some other thing. But I've really felt like it made the movie more immersive, and suddenly you were like, I'm in a different place now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the role they take. And also, sort of, you're talking about Star Trek, Adam. I think they play a different narrative role. Like in Star Trek, they use sort of, it's a more classic sci-fi where the different alien species sort of are metaphor for different points of view and philosophy.
It's the meeting of cultures, right? When we talk about and when we get to Star Wars, and this is something I want to talk about, is like it is a world where aliens and humans, or non-humans and humans, interact on a daily basis, like in like the bar. I mean, that's the thing I think about, is like you go to the bridge of the Enterprise, and that's like, this is utopia, aliens and humans working together. But then when you go into the crux of any Star Trek show, it's the meaning of two different cultures that are clashing. You go to Star Wars, every type of alien is at a bar drinking together, right? Like it's just like, it's
we get the
real
cantina
world
pretty early on, and that's a wretched highs of scum and villainy. Again, no offense to non-humans, but those non-humans happen to be wretched and crazy, and and that was the first time you're like, whoa, this galaxy's massive. Look at all these different species, and I think they serve that purpose, that core purpose of Star Wars, to make the galaxy feel bigger. You're just like, we're in some backwater, and there's a million species in this bar.
Yeah, and this is all the work of Rick Baker, the master makeup artist, creature design artist, and just so many original designs in that cantina, and just felt so amalgamated that it felt diversified, and it felt diverse in that space, and it felt adventurous, and it felt exotic. I don't know, it just was perfect, but also dangerous and seedy. There was characters doing nefarious things, like just smoking and drinking, and just around the corners in the dark, and the shadows lurking. And
There's
then
wolf men there.
yeah, there's like a werewolves and
there's like a devil-like character,
yeah.
right? The Davaronian, right? It just like looks like the devil's like
there's
smoking
like
butts and drinking beers. Like, what's going on?
There's also a random dude in a spacesuit that seems out of place and weird,
Yeah.
But so
classic, and then mirrored later in Force Awakens.
Yeah,
as castle.
I kind of do this when we do these pillars. I try to like think of the 9 main movies and then or the Skywalker saga, and I also lump in obviously Solo, and I try to think of like it's what we're doing. It's like what's the common theme? Like what do we see in all of them? And I broke it down to 2 main. When I think about aliens, I think of them in 2 ways in Star Wars, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. And to add to this is that I feel first aliens are necessary as part of the core group. And this is what
like the core ensemble.
Yeah, the core ensemble. I think that this not violated. That sounds really like my rule has been violated and broken, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily work in all the films. I think it works in all the Skywalker films, mostly because of one character that we'll talk about. And then the other thing I think of as, and I can't write this down as part of a fully realized world. And almost what I'm saying is there should be a scene, or there's often a scene, I should say, in Star Wars where the non-humans outnumber the humans. Right? Like there's a scene where we're shown that like, oh no, this galaxy is much larger than just the humans. It reminds us that.
Yeah.
And that's why a Star Wars film, that's why the alien pillar is essential to a Star Wars film, because it shows the scope of the galaxy. It just broadens, the scale, and it just makes everything feel bigger. And that's what Star Wars is all about. It's always about making it feel bigger. From that very first shot of the Star Destroyer, it's all about space and how you use space. And I feel like, hey, if they're going to go to a crowded location, there should be a lot of aliens there, because this is a big galaxy, and there's a lot of cross-pollination, and there's a lot of diaspora of all types of species all over the galaxy, because we've already seen that just at this random cantina. Once that tone is set, as I expect that in most populated areas.
Yeah. Thus it is established. I think that's what drew me to Star Wars, honestly, was that diversity, and that where you get in that place where it's like, oh no, you're a human in this place, and there's just a lot to know. It just seemed like a fun exploratory world. I grew up in a state where everyone looked the same, and it was boring. And I was like, it was nice to be like, oh, what are these people doing? What's their whole deal? What are they about? And it was a fun escapism there, and that's definitely a pillar of what we're doing here. Adam,
what do we have after that? Are we continuing chronologically through A New Hope?
Yeah, so maybe this would be like if we wanted to. I don't want to impose order.
I think it's time, Adam. I think it's time.
Well, no, so I was doing this earlier in another 3-hour Zoom meeting, and I'm like, I'm the person who always is like, I'll jump in and impose rules and order to something that necessarily doesn't need it. But like, so if we use those 2 ideas, right, part of the core group and a scene where where aliens outnumber or non-humans outnumber humans, or part of a fully realized world, it might be fun to just work our way through the 11 films kind of quickly and point out where we see those things chronologically. So do we want to start with like A New Hope? I think we've hit on it. I mean, core group is Chewie, right? Like we have Chewbacca.
The guy. Yeah. And this sort of ties back to our pillar on ensemble cast, which was episode 129. If you're on to that, that's my personal favorite. That's the other reason I love Star Wars, is the ensemble casts. But yes, there's always I don't want to say token, that's like pejorative, but there's but there's always like one holding it down that's bringing some color to the group. And Chewie's definitely the first one, and we see there.
The non-human character is just, it adds to that space and that scope of the galaxy. And if you don't have a Zeb or a Chewie or these other characters, it's kind of makes the galaxy feel small. And it's Star Trek. It turns into an all-human cast, just like running around talking to different cultures and different species, and that's not fun. It's more fun to have a diverse group exploring the galaxy, and each member of the group can know a little bit about their home world. And if it's a Wookiee and they're from Kashyyyk, like obviously they have their relations with other species, and it adds so much to what the group can do, basically, and they have their own expertise and specialties. And it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's essential to Star Wars to have the alien member of the ensemble,
Absolutely.
or the non-human. Member.
Yeah. So, Adam, so do you want to run through both then? Who the sort of like the alien, the non-human member is, and the scenes where the humans are outnumbered, sort of outnumbered by non-humans?
Yeah, I think it's a good just do it movie to movie, right? So I think it makes sense. Over A New Hope, I think we've already talked about it a lot. I mean, it's the cantina scene, right? Like that's
I mean, you could argue being among the Jawas and among the Tuskens is sort of when you're enveloped by those creatures. Well,
and that's a good point. We often get multiple ones, right? I think it's at least one in a film, but sometimes we get more, right? And I think A New Hope really set the pace for that because there's a few of them, right? Especially loaded in the first third of that movie, which I think is what really sets that tone.
Yep.
Yeah. And you got to think like George is also looking at Spielberg right now and Jaws in 75 and being like, oh, Steven's doing, these films about monsters, he's focusing on monsters. And then, after this film, after the trilogy, Spielberg makes E.T. and does all the creature, design there and the makeup and prosthetic work there, kind of improving on it. And then obviously gets to Jurassic Park. Like Steven Spielberg has been doing monsters this entire time as well. And it feels like George is like, I also, would like to explore this space, all the makeup and creature effects. And I feel like both of them were kind of pushing that technology as they went forward. And so it's so cool to just see the cantina scene and see the Tuskens and see all of what they did there. But other than that, I mean, like, we're going to get to creatures later, which we're doing non-humanoids now, but we'll do creatures after. Is that how we're going to frame this?
Yeah.
We'll probably do the same. We'll probably do something very similar to what we're doing right now when we talk about creatures.
Right. Because we don't get aside from Tatooine, there aren't many more aliens or non-humanoids in the film.
No, once you leave Tatooine, apart from some creatures that we'll talk about later, you're kind of done. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's one main creature scene and again, we'll talk about why creatures are another pillar that's essential to a Star Wars film. And you need to have big monster scenes, monster moments. It's just part of the pulp. It's part of the science fiction fantasy kind of
serial.
We could overlay creatures on this run through the movies as well if you wanted. It kind of makes sense actually. Though, like,
we get the Dianoga scene later in the film.
So why don't we? I like this idea. I think we'll need a bigger discussion when we specifically talk about creatures, about what we mean by that. But one of the things I want to talk about is one of the things, and I was going to do it similarly when we talk about creatures. So I like the idea of doing it now. Is there's a monster moment, right? So if we talk about like creatures, we'll talk about smaller creatures, other creatures, but there's always a monster moment, right, in these films. Yeah. And so maybe that's a good way. So we'll talk about, while we're going through the films, we'll talk about Alien in the core group. Kind of scenes where aliens outnumber humans or non-humans outnumber humans, and then the monster moment. And so Grant just hit it with it's the Dianoga, right? Like,
yes,
that slipped my mind. That's the crazy thing where they're just like, oh, you're worried about the Empire the whole time, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're like, we're in a trash compactor. What could possibly, we're worried about getting smushed, but it was like, nope, we're getting sucked.
And at the time, it's like a basic tentacle monster, at the time. But now they've evolved the sort of mythos of the Dianoga. They've shown what the creature looks like now. And full body.
See one in Galaxy's
Edge.
I saw that. It's pretty cool.
There's one in the tank in Battlefront 1. You go to Sullust, and you can see one in the tank.
But in A New Hope, it's like I think you see the eyeball, you see the tentacles, and that's about it.
Well, that's ultimately what they made. That's
fantastic.
It's still some tentacles.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like, it's still, that scene when I was a kid creeped me out.
That scene was existential dread. Like the actual walls closing in with the
walls closing in, and Luke is under.
Like, they're breathing. Luke is
under the water.
That junk water. I was like,
he's under that water for a long time. Like, I still get anxious every time I see that scene, even though I know how it's gonna end, because I'm like, that's a long time to be like, because he doesn't take a deep breath before he gets pulled under. He's like screaming and then gets pulled over, so he has like no breath held. Like, it's
smelly trash water. and some
Yeah, I was just
parts
concerned
to
about the trash
starships.
water. Honestly, I was like, don't swallow that.
Right. All right, let's keep hustling through here because I'm excited
Empire.
to get to Empire
All right,
Strikes Back.
Empire. Let's get into it.
Well, we got Chewie again, but we do have another possibly you can argue alien character added to our ensemble cast.
Yeah, I mean, Nine Nub is definitely.
Well, no,
he plays a. No, I guess he's not so much in there. Are
No,
you
he's
talking
Speaking of
about?
Wampa, I'm like
he's a-
jumping right to the Wampa right
well,
now.
we'll get to Wampas in a moment. But,
creatures-
Oh, we're talking Tauntauns?
No, we're talking aliens. We're talking aliens, core group alien, like.
Oh
member
well, I
of
mean,
the,
all the bounty hunters.
all the bounty hunters. We got Yoda. Don't forget about Yoda. You got
Yeah,
my
Wait,
man,
we're
yeah,
not
right?
there yet. I thought I was going to go through Wampas. I was going to do the creature monster moment because we start with the monster moment.
Start with
in
the monster
Empire.
moment.
Oh,
The
so you want to do
structure.
it like? So you want to do it like
quickly,
legit
just quickly,
chronological, like not only
structurally.
chronological but chronological in the movie. Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. So we do a quick monster. So we start with obviously we get Chewie in the hangar with Han, but keeping the aliens as a main facet, a main focal point of the story, the non-humans, should I say, and then we get the Wampa scene in the cave.
Yeah,
it's like
Well,
that's
the,
a big
the
monster beat
Tauntauns
right off
before
the
that,
bat.
man. The
Yeah,
Tauntauns.
and then Tauntauns, like the Tauntauns
Yeah.
were just gorgeous stop motion work.
yeah.
That it was just stunning to see. And
I think you're right, Gray. In terms of like the monster moment, it's 100% the Wampa. Like that is the monster.
Right.
well, you could argue there's another one, huge.
There's some more. There's a
monster
couple
moment.
in this movie. Yeah,
later.
Yeah.
One of far grander scale later.
Yeah.
in the
All right. So
episode.
once you get off Hoth, well, yes, there
then you get your
is.
second monster moment.
Yeah, you
But
get the Exegorth,
the Exegorth.
which is guys, like that was mind blowing to see. That really was like Ray Harryhausen. That was like just a giant creature. Just
Yeah.
it was really stunning to see the
Yeah.
first time I watched those films.
Yeah.
But then Minox,
The
quickly after,
Minox. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. which was scary. That was always alarmed me when it just like latches onto the window.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
It's
and
a great
then,
jump
you know,
scare. Yeah.
Bounty hunters, we don't need that scum.
Well,
they-
and
that
that's
was-
kind of a good example of maybe like I feel like it's a little harder in this movie to find that moment where aliens, there's more aliens than there are humans. But I think the bounty hunter scene is a good example of that, right? And
Right.
one thing I'll talk about when we get to some of the other movies is that I feel like Star Wars sometimes uses droids and aliens interchangeably, right? Meaning that they're trying to achieve the same thing.
right.
And so I think the bounty hunter is a good example of that, where you look at that, Boba Fett, we know chronologically he's human. Think back to when that movie was first made. We don't know what's underneath that helmet.
Right. Could have
Right,
been a
so
droid. Could have been an
anything.
alien.
Yeah.
So the only human that we know in that scene is Dengar, right? Is the only confirmed human. Because
Sadly,
even at that
Humanoid.
point, yeah, humanoid, right? So like I
not
think that's
great representation for us humans, but it's
no.
So
So that's-
says you. Says you.
Yeah.
Team Dengar all the way.
But before this, obviously Yoda, and
Yeah.
you said that off the bat, Adam. And again, that's doubling down on the creature work and this new non-human character that's got so much screen time that it's a huge gamble, and it's some of the
blows
most
my
beautiful
mind.
work in all three films. The acting, Frank Oz, Mark Hamill work is amazing. Like
every time I see Yoda, I can't believe that happened.
yeah.
Because you have Sir Alex Guinness in the first movie is like, this is the person we need to legitimize our film, right?
Right.
Like we have an Oscar winner, like he's a sir, like he's knighted. This legitimizes our film.
I like that.
He's dead, so you know who we're gonna follow him up with? A Muppet.
Yeah,
Muppet.
and
Trust
think
me,
about Alec Guinness.
it's gonna work.
Think about it. Think
You
about
are a
Sir Alec
coward
Guinness
if you
where
don't
he's-
act with a Muppet.
They're like, please come and play a space wizard, and he's like, fine, I'll play the space wizard for George, and then they're like, in the next film, what do I do? It's like, oh, you talk to a small green puppet,
Yeah.
and Luke again. That's about it.
Man. He was a good sport.
Yeah.
He was a good sport.
Kind of amazing,
But, I
and
mean,
It
it's
is. Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
work. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
iconic.
it speaks to the fact that
Legend.
creatures and aliens are a pillar, right?
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
I mean, Empire was an amazing story, but like he kind of had to dig to find places for the non-humans to be. I mean,
Sure.
Yoda was a pillar, obviously he was a big part of that. But and the bounty hunters was like, I felt like they needed some differentiation, like something else in the Empire to like give it some color, and like that really livened up the scene. And then Bespin, you have
Ugnaughts.
not a lot of non-humans there. Actually,
no, really just the Ugnaughts running around.
Ugnaughts, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ugnaughts, yeah.
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 All right. What about Return?
Return?
Oh, Return is like probably
Like-
has like it's the most rife with, I would say, non-humans and creatures.
You hit within the first 15 minutes of that film, you hit all of these, right? You get your monster moment, you get your tons of aliens, and you get and you get Chewie walking around.
Yeah, I'm sure if you
Is
do a head
Jabba's
count, it's
Palace the
like more
first
than a
time we see
New
it?
Hope even.
Yeah.
in
Is
the
Jabba's
first
Palace the first time we
5
see
minutes.
Twi'leks?
Yes, you see
in
multiple
release
Twi'leks.
order. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, again, think about that. Like everyone in Jabba's like palace is basically an alien. Like everyone hanging around there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, the Hutts are the main
Except for,
attraction
you know,
there.
Skipguard, Lando, and Boba Fett. Like
Right.
those are the only. I mean, you can not if you assume Boba Fett's a human, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Then we get Klatooinians and we get Weequay. Yeah, there's a bunch in there.
Gamorreans, Bomar monks.
Gamorreans, Bomar monks.
Yes.
The
And this is like
so
this
that's
is like
the
a
scene.
mashup of like just like the diversity of the galaxy as well as almost like a monster moment. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what I made of Jabba the Hutt the first time I saw him. It's kind of a hybrid situation. He's kind of terrifying. He's kind of like, but then obviously there's even the monster moment is of course the Rancor follows, but it's
and then
it was just scary.
It was like Rancor, Sarlacc, bang bang, just like two massive monster moments. I'm glad you framed it that way. I never really thought about how significant the monster moments were until now, because I'm like, oh no, they're massive pillars and they're just like mainstays that make Star Wars special. And I'm wondering as we get later into the series, like if we're missing out on monster moments, you know, how recent films and recent. Like, has Filoni done enough monster moment stuff? Like, I don't know.
Well, we can talk about Book of Boba Fett. We definitely get the weird Ray Harryhausen monster moment in Book of Boba.
Yes, that was awesome.
Like that is about as monstery as you can get.
Maybe they were like checking boxes and we're like, you know what?
Yeah,
we forgot our monster moment. Like, so we're gonna do this one in there. I mean, and then you get the Rancor again, but it's like they needed their unique one. Obviously, the Crate Dragon in season 2. And then the Mudhorn in season 1.
Mudhorn, yeah. So I think that's in there. The other thing is, I think, you know, talking about like thinking back to Jabba's palace. 2 of my favorite movies as a child were Return of the Jedi and Temple of Doom. And those 2 movies share a ton of DNA. They're both really gross movies.
Yeah. Yeah, they are gross.
Sort of
like
gross
they're very
out.
gross. And so like I feel like when we start with like that's why we get so much of that like alien and monster stuff at the beginning of it. Like that whole opening just feels like Temple of Doom to me.
Yep.
Yeah. What's interesting is I think in there's some new Star Wars stories they explore sort of like benevolent monster characters and things like that. Like it's not always just a creature coming like trying to eat you. It's now there's now nuanced approaches to it, but I don't know. Maybe Star Wars needs that danger. I think you could make an argument for that, but I don't know. It's interesting. We could have a larger conversation when we get to creatures.
It takes true artistry, I think, these days to create a creature that you're like, kill it now, kill it.
Yeah,
you know, like that was the other. Oh, so they had a monster moment in season 2, right, with the ice spiders, and you're just like, kill it, kill that thing.
Nope.
You know, because I'm always like, why don't kill that? Like, you know, I
especially when there's the Force and you can communicate with it and sort of render it docile. Yeah.
No, but those ice spiders need to go.
This thing's got to.
Yeah, the ice spiders. Get them out.
Yeah, just Star Killer that planet right now. Just like do it.
So
too many spiders.
Now we're on to the
Sarlacc monster. I mean, this.
Oh,
is
right. No, we're not.
After
More
Sarlacc.
Sarlacc.
Yeah.
I forgot about.
Well,
Sarlacc.
yeah, I mentioned the Sarlacc. You know, another big monster moment. And then off-world, though, I mean, not really. Though we do get a couple more. The like ensemble cast grows. Nine Nubs sneaks in there. Admiral Akbar is like a major character.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, we're gonna get to I think our favorite 3 non-human characters in Star Wars at the
I
end of
may
this.
or may not have said two.
We
of
may,
the
yeah, we
top
may
three.
have just said one, but I'm obsessed with.
Yeah. Why don't we get to the prequels?
Well, I will say, don't forget, just quick before you
Ewoks.
Ewoks.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course,
I mean,
Ewoks.
like, yeah.
Sheesh.
It's like-
Yeah, so that's that
a
moment,
lot
right?
of screen time. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like
It's cool.
Return of the Jedi the most pillory of all the Star Wars movies?
Yeah, it's like it knows what the pillars are and just
That's
like
Chris
full
Terrio.
throttle on all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe to its detriment.
Yeah,
Like maybe to its like, you know
No.
what, you like this, we're gonna do it
all
3
these
times.
all of the
No,
third.
I think
I would
it's a
I would argue
feature.
the third film in all these in all these trilogies sort of just goes a little too fast, and it has all the time in the world. It's like I think it's allowed to have a longer running time. I would give it just more time even. Like I don't know why it needs to go so quick.
The third movie in all these trilogies, you feel like, yeah, we got this figured out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like someone running off the stage.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, we got this. We're good. Don't worry about it. It's great. You're gonna love it. We're totally gonna stick this landing. We're not gonna do something that's gonna make us feel like we need an additional trilogy. Sorry.
Get every single one. Return of the Jedi, I think, is the most successful. I would argue.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It seals the deal at the end in a nice way, in a beautiful way. I would argue.
Yeah.
But just there's some intercutting that could slow down, but it's great. Other than that,
Yeah. Okay, now can we go to the prequels, please?
yes.
Now we can go to the
Prequels. We've entered the prequels.
All right. So it kind of starts off pretty quick. We get to Gungan world, right?
Yeah.
Gungan City, and Jar Jar, who's
Yeah.
fantastic. Bang, just like alien creature.
There you
Gungans. Let's go.
Yeah, which was cool.
Boss
so that
Nass
was,
looks a little different than the other Gungans. It's okay.
yeah, you know,
Don't worry about
man,
it.
he's a little heavy set. Okay, just
Yeah.
give a guy a break.
He's enjoying his
Really,
status.
he looks like it's another like species or something.
Oh,
He
no,
looks
man.
like a
He's-
totally different Gungan.
Dude, that guy he's crushing wings and beer. I think that's the life. When you're in an elite, you get to just
Yeah,
do whatever.
yeah.
I don't really know
I
what
know.
Gungans eat actually, but I assume it's wings and beer. Maybe that's my.
I assume he's the champ at 5-cent wing night.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be anywhere. You just find another restaurant. Yeah, they're there. Nubians, just running through the movie in my mind.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
well,
yeah.
But,
So
And
Jar
then we
Jar
get
is
the-
really
I mean-
he's part of the cadre, right? He's part
yeah,
of the
he's the key core group, and then we get the OPC killer and the whatever the Godzilla monsters are when they go through the planet core, right? We get our first
Oh,
monster.
yeah.
moment.
Oh, yeah,
That's the
OP
monster
killer,
moment.
sea killer, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah, that
OPC,
red fish. That's
yeah.
a little fish, and then the
Yeah.
big fish is like what is it? Like the sea. Yeah, it's also like overtly a sea monster name. I forget what it is, but
yeah.
that
I
giant
remember
thing
them
looks
not,
like.
I remember them not being very imaginative names. It's like sea monster or giant. Gooberfish. We get gooberfish, right? So
Ooh, I think that's
That's the
Ooh,
Gungan.
Gooberfish.
that's the small one, right?
Yeah, it's called the Sando Aqua Monster, the one that has like the muscular physique and sort of
Yes.
snatches the tiny red fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call
in-
him.
Swallow
in
underwater.
scale, it's relative.
Yeah,
scale.
I call him Godzilla, but we can
Yeah.
move on.
Godzilla.
I
Yeah.
wanna see-
Sando
they should
Aqua
do the
Monsters.
kaiju battle of the Sando Aqua Monster
Yeah.
versus the Zillo Beast. I would pay to see that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be good in our sequel trilogy. It's going to be
Vader
like a
should then
cage
fight them
match. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, Vader's great grandson.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah.
there's a Colo clawfish that chases them too, right? That's the first thing, like when they turn
That's
the
right.
lights on.
There's a lot of.
It snaps its jaws,
Yeah.
and then you get the OP.
That's what gets
sea
it
filter.
damaged.
so
and
the
then
first
you
one's the
get sand.
gooberfish because he's like, ooh, large gooberfish, and then the claw beast, and then the Sando Aqua Monster. I think
And
Okay.
then the
In
OPC.
A lot of
the
lot of-
nesting dolls.
lot of aquatic fish in this sort of this part of the film.
But again,
I mean,
killer,
before
right?
this,
Right
we
off
did
the
get
bat.
Moyans, which you said, which was great.
Yep.
And then after this moment, we get to Naboo, which is another human population, which
Yeah.
was kind of odd when you got there. You were like, oh, there's like Would have been nice maybe to get a few non-humans as like guards or I don't know. Like why wouldn't someone be there?
Well,
Yeah,
I
it's
think that was the
very-
point, right? It was like talking about the class division along
Right.
species line, on that planet, and that was one of the. I mean, it was political commentary, but I think that was why they went all human on there.
Yep.
And then we go to Tatooine again.
Yeah. Again.
We see
can't
Mos
escape
Espa
Tatooine.
this time, right?
Yep. Mount Sespa. Yeah. And then. Yeah. And then lots of non-humans there.
But famously, our
Watto.
everyone's favorite Toydarian, Watto.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah,
I'm
Watto.
just gonna type his name down real quick. No reason.
No reason. But yeah, we got Watto, but we also have like when we look at the race scene, right? Like we get the
yes,
like it's all aliens apart
Non-humans,
from
yeah.
Anakin because it's specifically said no
Sebulba the
human.
Doug. Yeah.
Yeah, Sebulba the
Yeah,
Doug,
that's-
especially dangerous Doug.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dougs, yeah.
Yeah. There's even like what's his name? Like
Ben Quadraneros.
Ben
no,
Quadraris.
Fotosinbede Anodui. What's his name? The two-headed announcer. Like
Oh,
that's a great-
Fod and Bean. No, Foyd and
Fodenbeed. I forget.
Uh,
Yeah, those that was just great. That was
that's
fantastic.
gotta hurt.
Loved it.
It's gotta hurt.
I don't care.
Ben
What-
Quadraneros.
Yeah. I don't care what universe you come from, which, by the way, is the most
Oh, yeah,
confounding
you get
line.
You get a lot of non-humans in the stands too.
Yeah. But this is the line. This is the line that breaks my brain every time I hear it. Is I don't care what universe you come from. That's got to hurt. That implies that in Star Wars we have a multiverse. Not what galaxy you come from. What universe you come from.
Right. Yeah.
There's a
solar
multiverse
system.
in Star Wars.
Yeah. Solar system. Don't. Let's not.
Just an expression.
You're not
Ask
wrong,
George.
Adam. You're
Ask
not
George. He wrote that line.
Right. A solar system would have made more sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a scene where all the different Anakins will meet each other.
No.
Well, you do see the ET species in the Senate, and then you know that if this
Yeah.
was a long time ago in a galaxy
The
far,
Green
far
Leagues.
away, and yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Uni though. Yeah. All right. And then once
Where were
we're
we?
off there,
What's
then we're
happening?
just back to Naboo, right? That's where we go.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Well,
And then-
Darth Maul obviously a Zabrak.
Yeah,
Yep.
and part of the core cast, right? Maybe not
Yes.
the
Yeah.
core ensemble, but yeah.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
own sort of dark side ensemble. That's
Yeah.
he puts it there.
Yeah. Then you get the Jedi Council, which
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
we got our Jarl Poof.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've said it before, and I want to reiterate it. Is just like you can hit on the prequels for a lot of things, but in terms of a number of non-humans and alien characters, I mean, the prequels have it above any of the other Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
George was flexing the green screen and CGI and was like, "Let's go!" Like, it'll always be the best galaxy world building in live action for me. That's why I still adore the prequels because it just takes you there. You're like, talk about immersion in like the galaxy far, far away. It's just you're surrounded by foreign bodies all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it. Kiadi Mundi. Like, come on, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones. We want to get that.
Yeah.
Go there. I mean, I guess they sort of start marginalizing Jar Jar at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have the chase through Coruscant and the Coruscant bar. So you got another bar.
Wessel. Yeah.
Sam Wessel.
Oh yeah, Zam Wessel.
Which Zam Wessel was not a shapeshifter until like very late, I think, in the production, or like after principal photography. Like George was like, let's make her a Claudite like alien, and so that was cool. It was cool that was like we got an alien, we got a non-human bounty hunter right away.
Yeah, it was like
It's true.
Thought it was a human, but no, it's a non-human.
Yeah. I feel like that bar, though. I feel like when we're at Coruscant bar, it seems very human to me. When I think about that scene, I don't. Other than like,
it's just
Sleaze
minimal.
Bagano?
It feels like minimal makeup, like Sleaze Bagano has like antennae, and there's like Twi'leks, or like there's just.
I mean, we'll get plenty of aliens, but I think again that was an interesting commentary. I don't know if he was making a commentary about like, is Coruscant more, is there more, just what's the word I'm looking for? Brain.
These are higher, like the
shutting down.
class, hierarchy of systems, like Yeah, are there humans above like repressing other species or something like that? Is that because like I know in Knights of the Republic games when you were on that city world, you go down to like the lower levels. It seems like you're dealing with like other other aliens, so they're non-humans.
Yeah, I think that's very much part of it because I mean the Empire, as we're going there, I mean they were an autocratic, like supremacist, like human supremacist, like entity, right?
Yeah.
They didn't let almost any non-humans into their ranks at all, other than Thrawn,
Thrawn
and like
is a
one
weird
other
outlier.
guy.
I gotta think it's just budgetary restraints, honestly. Though I can't think it's commentary. It's like
commentary.
It's like makeup, like that's pricey to do so many makeup applications.
But we get lots of aliens later in this movie. So part of me feels like I'm going to give George the benefit of the doubt and say, which I rarely ever do. That's a weird sentence coming from my mouth, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say it is commentary. I feel like
the Empire's commentary,
right?
Sure.
The Empire's coming, and the seed of the Empire's power is Coruscant, and the Empire was not a hard sell to the galaxy, right? If you think about it, like people are just like, oh yeah, I agree with that. Like like I feel like people were just tacitly agreeing to stuff that was already starting to come together. I mean, it feels very it just feels very separate in Coruscant.
Yeah, that's interesting commentary if that's what he's doing. But I agree with you. It felt like Anakin and Obi-Wan were basically interacting with humans most of the time. It didn't feel like then I think they just tried to maybe in post made Zam Wessel a Claudite because I think he just wanted to up the non-humans.
Well, and that character's not part of that world, right?
Felt like
in terms of
get enough non-humans in camera. Let's make this bounty hunter a non-human character.
I mean,
which makes sense.
If you want to talk about class battle and like where this is headed and like whether Anakin knows he's fighting on that side or not, he is, because you get him slaughtering Tuskens. Then you get the Panaki arena, right? And the and it's just they're just killing non-humans. It's like slaughtering non-humans with all the Geonosians and and the most of the separatists force are non-humans, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say like that's one of the big scenes that we get that's similar to like the bar scene is the separatist committee meeting.
Yeah.
Right. We get all of the non-humans together in a boardroom, and those are the people who are separatists. Right. I mean, I think it's really telling. I'm now like, okay, I love episode 2. I may have just now talked this up one more spot on my list.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because there's commentary here that I wasn't even realizing.
And just like full-on gray aliens in that movie, which is
it's true.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, let's not forget about that. But like,
how
telling is it? But like, how telling is it that the separatists are all non-human, right? The ones who don't want to be part of the galactic, Senate anymore, like could feel this wave, right? Could feel the wave of this coming, and we're just like, no, we're out.
Though they were also sort of oligarchs of the galaxy at the same time. Serrano, obviously he's human, but everyone else, it's the oligarchy, alien oligarchy.
Good point. I'm not arguing for the Nemoidian Empire.
But if it was others, like, oh well, we're being repressed by the humans, suddenly they're more, which they kind of are. All the
right, and most I feel like most fleets, like the Chiss and the Togrutas and stuff in the novels and the ancillary materials, like I don't think it feels like it's not very diverse. It feels like it's mainly just that non-human species that are people. Yeah.
But I'm stoked about those novels. I want to go. Like I loved how in Mandalorian and Book of Boba we got a deep dive into Tuskens. Like that was really cool to like find out more about a specific species, but when they do a deep dive, literally, no pun intended, on like Mon Cala in some of the comics and some of the animations, it's really fun.
I think Petronaki Arena, Geonosins, and then obviously that monster scene in the arena.
Oh yeah, that's
before the clone. That's the monster scene of.
That's the monster scene
too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another one where you're like, kill it right now.
Yeah.
The Nexu and the Reek and that was a spectacular monster scene too. I remember being riveted by that. I finding that moment riveting in the theater, watching that moment. I thought that was just really, really cinematic, just fun.
Yeah.
That movie ends so strong. This is not me like trying to convince everyone to love episode 2, but like I remember sitting in the theater. What's that?
But we will try to convince you if you
I
ask.
I saw the movie midnight, and I was last minute midnight screening, and then I had a 9 a.m. ticket the next morning because that's the one I was originally going to go to that I pre-bought. And so the midnight I went on a whim, and I remember being like leaving the theater going, I can't wait for that last scene. To be honest, it was like I was not hot on the movie, but I didn't hate it. And I remember waking up at like 8 after getting like 4 hours of sleep.
Right.
And being like, oh man, I just have to make it to the Yoda fight. Like I just wanted to see the Yoda fight again. But I really enjoyed the second half too. But like just knowing that it was going to end on such a like weirdly dour note, but such a high adventure and action moment. Like that whole last, like that the climax of that movie is amazing.
Yeah, movie's great. Yeah. Why
Uh,
don't we
yeah,
keep this moving along? So this
let's
isn't
keep
a
going.
7-hour podcast.
Sure. All right, Ben.
Got Return of the Sith.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. Sorry,
Revenge,
I'll always get that wrong when under the gun. Gosh, I mean, well, they're fighting the Separatists.
I feel like there's not as much in this one. I feel
No,
like
this one's tough.
movie's a war.
General Grievous,
Yeah.
right? Is like
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
yeah,
like.
yeah,
He's not a creature, but it's
No,
a,
no, he is like a Dracula-esque monster.
He is, but he's
monster movie
sentient.
character.
I mean, maybe on a technicality, I'll give it to you, but like,
okay.
He's
I-
a hybrid like Jabba to me. He's almost like non-human
yeah,
character representation, but also like a monster. Like a
he's
straight
very,
up-
yeah. I mean, he's very monstrous. You're right.
But I think is this the movie where we don't get a monster moment?
There's a couple that I was really interested to get your thoughts on
We-
these, and this is
This
one
one's
of the
the
ones.
benevolent. This is the beginning of the benevolent monster moment with the Varactyl and the sort of like Obi riding the.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had
yeah.
the same. I
As long
thought
as
about
he
the
does,
Varactyl as
you know.
well.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think the way they squeezed it in was Grievous. I think this was their. Again, I don't know if they're consciously thinking about these things, but I think you're right. I mean, he is very great, as you mentioned, very Dracula-like.
Yes.
His death is very. It shows his inhumanity, like that. His death scene, like he just has one beating heart, and like it clearly fries out all of his biological organs. It's really gruesome when you actually watch that scene.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really just his heart and his
Spinal
eyes
cord.
and his spinal cord are kind of the only thing left.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great sound design in that moment too.
Yeah.
Right. But I was
So-
hoping I was wrong, but I can't think of any other monster moments in episode 3.
No, I mean,
well, I
we
mean,
get
the Senate. We get a lot of Senate, and the Senate is jam packed.
Lots of aliens.
a lot of aliens. Yeah, the
non-humans.
Chagrian,
Mazameda.
Mazameda.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no real monsters.
The
in this.
Umbrian. What's her name? Slimore.
Yeah, Umbar. Yeah,
Umbarian.
yeah,
Sorry.
Udapawan, right? She's
Oh, the
she's-
Powans. The Powans.
The Powans is the one
Yeah.
where when I saw
Don't
them,
worry
I was
about
like, when I was there, I was like, I thought they were bad characters, right? Because I mean, they're tall,
Yeah.
they look like Dracula, spiky teeth, and all that.
Yeah,
I was
they
like,
have sharp teeth,
but then they end up helping,
Yeah.
the Republic forces.
We might want to pause on the Powans.
Okay,
We'll get there.
right.
Did we miss a big monster moment?
No, I don't think we do.
There's the opera scene, but again, not really. I mean,
Right. There's the swimming in the tank. It's almost like a theatrical. It's the opera. Yeah, the opera. itself.
right, but it's not really creatures.
Yeah.
I don't think that we don't get a monster moment in this.
No,
Well, obviously we do get the arrest of Palpatine, which features some non-human Jedi.
yeah, lots
Yeah,
of
so
like
you get
lots and
Jedi,
lots
you
of
get Jedi
non-humans.
Council, you get Jedi
Tons of aliens.
diversity.
Yeah, there's tons of aliens in this. I mean, the Senate
Application.
alone is
Yeah,
the Senate's
and I
kind
mean-
of like the anti cantina scene, right? These are all the
And
dignitaries.
Yoda's your kind of your major
Yeah, you get a lot of Yoda.
alien part of the ensemble. But I mean, I was just Googling and trying to look for creatures in Revenge of the Sith. And when you do that, the only thing that constantly comes up is the Varactyl, right? As Grant, you already
Yeah.
mentioned. So
Okay.
I really think it is. I think they kind of just thought that plus General Grievous gets you your monster stuff. But I like this idea, Grant, you're talking kind of I can't remember how you
Benevolent.
you phrased it, benevolent monsters. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Right. Because you'll get Loth wolves and you'll get
Right.
Vulptexes and you'll get Fathiers and you'll get, sirens, and you'll get all types of benevolent monsters later that are fantastic. It's just it's actually pretty poetic because this all started after Anakin tamed that reek in episode 2. Now you're getting a lot of these moments where people are connecting with monsters, and it's not always trying to eat the hero.
Yeah. And there's gosh, was that a mudhorn in the arena? Or was
That's
that
a reek?
It's
called
a
a reek.
reek. Yeah. They're similar, but yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
Sequel trilogy?
Yeah.
well, I think, or are we just gonna go through the 9, or did you want to go through Rogue One Solo as well? Let's just do the 9.
Well,
we're
doing
the monster
it
game at the end. And
yeah. I do kind of want to. Why don't we do release order? So we'll do the. I do want to. Let's do like very quick when we talk about the Star Wars stories.
all right, it's
because
there
they're
are great ones in those.
But in episode 7, I think episode 7 we kind of covered a lot of it already in terms of like we know the alien scene is really at Maz Kanata's, right? We have a lot of the alien. Rathtar is our monster moment. Yep. We have Chewie's back, right? So we got Chewie as part of our.
You get a lot on Jakku though before that, and then
Yeah,
a lot on Jakku, a lot going on there. Even Onkar Plut gets some screen time, and he is a non-human character.
Yeah,
I don't have his species.
There are monster moments in the dunes of Jakku as well. There's one that like sort of lives that with the like the 2 eyes, sort of the hammerhead.
Yeah. Right, the hammerhead thing, the scale pecker.
Yeah, and there's some beasts of burden. It's like that water, that like big snort, like big snouted
that pushes Finn out of the way.
Yeah, the water thing that's kind of fun.
The Night Watcher worm is that thing that it's just eyes come out.
Okay,
it's actually a giant sort of like sand dwelling, what looks like kind of like a insect. It's crazy.
Right, I've seen the under the sand photo. It's like massive, right? But it just has
it's
similar to the
massive. Kind of love that. I mean, you would never know, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jakku's got a lot, and then Maz's castle. We get our first taste of the Duwatan, that giant new non-human.
Great addition.
Yeah.
Red Raider.
His name's Grumgar.
The Duwatan there.
Took the time to look that up.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Grant. That's nice.
You get the dengue sisters, those like mosquitoes. Straight up mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
So that's
Abinettos all over this film. Like
it's the big addition.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Another big addition there. Yeah, pilots, right?
And they're all named after
all Beastie Boy.
Beast Boy. Try to name. Yeah, it's cool.
And then we have Rogue One. If we do real quick, Bor Gullet is our monster moment.
Oh, the Bor Gullet. Yeah, I couldn't think of the monster moment, but that's a good one. You're right.
Another tooth. Yeah.
A lot of aliens in the early version of the Rebellion. Right? Yep. We get a lot of them surrounding them. There's no alien in our main core, right? It's all human.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
droid.
That's what started. I think our fervor for wanting more non-human characters in the main ensemble. I think after the sequel trilogy, we were all like, "Where is that? Where's that new non-human that's basically has the screen time of Chewie, but gets to grow and develop?"
And we just didn't get it. They were leaning on Chewie for the Skywalker trilogy, and then in Solo, as we'll talk about in a little bit. But not a ton. Yeah.
But there
Snoke
were a lot of
was like you could have thought of him as non-human. I don't know.
Yeah.
If whatever you want to think about Snoke at that time.
Snoke could have been anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is he human? I don't know. Did he come from human? Like whatever. We call him.
I mean, at the time, I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
that looks like very decrepit sort of flesh. Yeah.
Back to the to Rogue One for a second, though. The other Resistance did have a lot of non-humans in it.
Lots. Yeah.
We have benthic two tubes.
Yeah,
that's right.
kind of huge, but there's a lot. I forget what those smaller creatures are called, and
Yeah, I was trying to think of their names too. Yeah.
I know I'm blanking on that whole group, but there's a ton in there.
Yeah.
Which was fun. They did try to make the galaxy bigger, and they created some new creatures for that, which I always appreciate. Like I love Rhodians and I love Twi'leks and I love Aqualish, but it's just like, and Wookiees and Trandoshans and all that. But I think it's more fun when they're like, there's this new creature now, though.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot more work, but I feel like it's, if it makes the galaxy bigger, then it's worth it.
But it's nice because even in we'll talk about it when we get to Solo. Right, they add back a Rhodian right into the early rebellion. Like, so it's nice to have those things.
Yeah, you see, like, so in the trailer, like, famously, you see like that one guy like firing like a machine, a rapid fire blaster on like a heavy blaster on like on one of the gunships or something. I think that's like a Drabotin, and it's got like sharp teeth. It looks like almost reptilian. Then there's Moroff, that big hairy white creature.
Yes,
that's Gigoran from Gygor. Then you're talking about the Talpinis. You see
Talpinis. That's what's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And they're also featured in the High Republic books. If you're reading that, there's one in the Nile. But then you get a lot in Rogue One. Like they really tried to flavor the rebellion to feel like it's a diverse organization. Whereas I feel like in the sequels they almost I guess they do, but it's like it's Sulistans
apart from the
like
Abeninos and Nine Nub, there's not a ton.
Not a lot.
Yeah, there's some Moncala in there too.
Right.
Moncala.
Yeah.
Right.
They were
It stayed true almost to like the original trilogy with sort of like how the rebellion looked.
Yeah. Right, and then so
episode 8,
Last Jedi.
So many, I think, diverse non-humans and creatures in this. Obviously, Canto Bight is just another scene that's just packed.
Yeah, I think this is the peak of your benevolent monster argument, Grant.
Yeah,
because there are no. This is the one, and I love episode 8 as we talked about, but. As you know, they tried to kind of like stay to Star Wars, but also do some new stuff. And this is the one where I could not find anything close to a monster moment in it. There's lots of benevolent creatures, but not a lot of monster moments.
Not a monster, movie. Right? There's the crystal foxes. Oh, in Solo, we forgot the super Verminoth. That would be the monster.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Oh, totally.
Suma Verminoth. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's right. Eight's got so. I like 8 because it just shows the scope of the galaxy without the threat. You're basically you get to go to Canto Bight. You get to experience the casino world. The biggest threat are the human security officers. It's like
right.
Yeah, it's cool to actually just interact with all these non-humans, and obviously, again, the benevolent monsters here: the Thalas Sirens, the Fathirs, the Porgs, the Vulpix.
I think that's what I'd say is like the Fathirs is the closest thing to a monster moment in the film because we get their stampede through Canto Bight, right? So it is kind of a monster moment.
Maybe that's what people were. When people sort of critique that scene and sort of say they didn't get the full thrill of that moment, or they weren't fans of the Canto Bight moment. Maybe that's kind of what they were feeling, but they just did. Maybe at the time, I don't think I really realized that either. But there's no danger. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of danger there, but there is some. So it does qualify as a monster moment,
right? Because they're benevolent creatures, right? So you're rooting for the monster moment.
Yeah, there's no danger to our characters. The people we're rooting for. It's danger to the 1%ers at Canto Bight.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe that's why that scene was originally 4 minutes longer than it even made the movie. So wild. And then
you also get the Lanai on Octu, the creatures sort of
the caretakers
helping
the caretakers. Yep.
Yeah,
that's a good alien moment.
That's great. Those are great creature designs. I just love the creature work in 8 specifically, and I just really, really think the creature works spectacular there.
Yeah,
the
the
crystal
sea cows and
foxes were
stuff.
kind of like that was another benevolent. That was almost like the Reek moment in Attack of the Clones. Sort of felt the Force kind of like rumbling underneath the Force rumbles under every action in this movie, basically, and you felt it especially here with the Vulptics sort of like guiding Poe and the Resistance out of the caves, or to Rey, and again, that's a pretty big reliance on creatures, and part of the story.
Yep, that's a good one. And then Episode 9. Not a lot. I mean, a lot of alien work in that. We have the like spy that gives the plans away. That horned creature that it's not on the tip of my tongue right now.
Bulio?
Bulio. Yeah, Bulio. Thank you.
Yeah.
Voiced by Mark
Good
Hamill.
call. Yeah.
Oh man.
Mark Hamill. Oh my gosh. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you know,
out here we get we get that giant slug on the Falcon. I forget his name.
It's like skis or stees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steaks.
I feel like
it's just like one tracking shot past him.
Yeah. They made such a big deal of that too before the thing. They're like, "There's this great new alien." You're like, "What?" He's a slug with no arms. That's a technician, and you're like, "Wait, what does he do? Does he like tap buttons with his tongue?" I don't.
Yeah, but I would argue 9 maybe has my favorite creature moment.
What's that?
Our non-human character moment in all.
Oh,
well, Babu Frick. Like
Babu Frick. Yeah, Babu Frick's
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a genius concept.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you get the Mustafarians getting mowed down in there.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the Sith metallurgist.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's right. The sort of like chimp.
Just the chimp.
Yeah. That was amazing.
What's interesting is, excuse me, I think there is a creature moment in the film. It's very brief when they're light speed tripping or light speed hopping at the beginning.
Skipping.
Skipping, but yeah.
However, I think there was
I'm sure someone's
originally
using that name for something else. But
yeah. I think there was a more of a monster moment in the film, and I think I cut out. And I think that was the Eye of the Webbish Bog. I think that was supposed to be our monster moment.
That was
it.
It
Just didn't happen. Yeah.
Gosh, for yeah.
Yeah,
give us a 3-hour cut. That it was a 3-hour movie.
Ochi Bastoon is a non-human character that's huge in it, like plays a role apparently a massive role in the backstory of the
right. And then I mean you could say the Sith cultists, we don't really know what species they are, but they seem sort of non-human.
Yeah.
Well, there's the snake moment with Rey.
The snake moment. That's it. There you go.
That's
Grant.
it.
That's the one. Yeah.
And it's actually a really powerful monster moment.
Yeah.
And it's great because it poetically rhymes with the knowledge she learned that she's the granddaughter of the evil sheep Palpatine, and that he was snakish in his ways throughout life. It's sort of this beautiful moment, but then she finds the goodness in this, and it rhymes with episode 2. It's a great monster.
It's that benevolent monster moment, kind of done best, I think, of all the films, right?
Yeah,
because completely when it's first introduced, you're like, oh no, this is bad. This creature's gonna kill them. And then Rey's just realized, no, it's just angry and aggressive because it's injured. Let me heal it. And it's a really beautiful moment. That moment still, I remember seeing it the first time in the theater and really being touched by it. Really, the first time I saw it.
Yeah. It's growing up, you guys. I will say.
I agree. Yeah.
Slowly but surely, I will like that movie someday.
It keeps increasing with every viewing of it.
No one's giving it. I can't believe people who still won't give it a chance. I'm like, there's good work in there.
Yeah, right. The more we talk about it, the more you sort of understand what went on. I mean, I understood right away, but you guys, obviously, you'll catch up.
We're looking at it from this angle.
Do you guys really not like it? Sorry.
But we're just highlighting these monster scenes and these non-human characters, and I feel like if we looked at this film from another angle, from another point of view,
I mean, is it like a directorial masterpiece? I mean, but is it a good Star Wars movie? Like, those are two different questions.
Did they watch Episode 8? Did they see what happened at the end of that film?
I mean, they made some references to it.
They sure did. Actually, they tied off a lot of questions that were raised in episode 8, which I'd be happy to do on another podcast.
I don't know. I saw a very different film after that 8th film. I was like, oh, there's this now. This should happen, and then I don't know. It was Palpatine, but gotta love Sheev. That's it. I think we did it.
We did them all.
Yeah, we got through all 11 movies, and
So
we're not touching the other stuff, but it's all there.
Non-humans and creatures essential to Star Wars storytelling. Your non-human characters to broaden the scope of the galaxy. Your creatures to create the thrill of classic, swashbuckling fantasy epics and science fiction epics. I think it's all just great storytelling, and it goes back to literature and Grendel and the Cyclops and Medusa, like St. George and the Dragon. Like, it's just, you need these monsters. Like, it's classic fantasy. Like, you just gotta have fantasy.
I have been talking about Hero of a Thousand Faces with my wife, because she's teaching that to her students, her high school students right now.
Wow.
Because she's a English teacher for high school students, and so she's teaching the hero's journey and showing a lot of different clips of films and things to talk about it. And so my mind's been kind of centering around that. I will argue that the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie is the perfect example of the hero's journey.
Because it was just a copy of A New Hope.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, but thinking about that is
still a great
people
movie.
usually use A New Hope, but
yeah. No, but I anyway, well, we can talk about it off air.
Matrix.
It doesn't mean I like that movie better. I just think he studied it way too closely. But anyway, I was gonna say that I think the we talk about it, and there's that it's not said specifically in it, but there is this confrontation with a non-human force of some kind, right? And I think that's what brought up was Grant, referencing Gilgamesh. No, but there's the Gilgamesh story too, and the Odyssey.
Enkidu is essentially like a wild man or something.
Yeah,
it's described
exactly.
as another type of so it's just two separate sort of entities.
But what is Grendel in?
Grendel's in Beowulf.
Beowulf, thank you. I could not think of Beowulf, right? So right, we see these early myths, right, and we see them just as Campbell said, repeated and repeated, and that confrontation of the monster is a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and monster actually just comes from the Latin word monstrum, which means like an omen, or sort of a warning. So and then that makes me all right. So let's go back to episode 4, and I want to talk about what each monster omen. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have to do that, but I kind of want to. Yeah. But nonetheless, I think it's essential to storytelling in general.
Yeah, there you go.
But and it just through history, all we've had there's always been giant monsters. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Cthulhu, Smaug, Moby Dick. Yeah. There's always been these giant creatures.
And if you even look to human history, there's obsession with these things. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at our seafaring, there's always obsession with leviathans of some kind, even if they don't exist.
The Kraken,
the Kraken,
cryptids. Every there's a billion
Charybdis.
Yeah. I mean, I always think of the early Western
the Jersey Devil. Yeah,
the Jersey Devil.
I think I saw the Jersey Devil in the cantina.
Yeah, you might have been there. Actually.
Totally. As a New Jerseyan, be careful. I don't want to joke too hard about the Jersey Devil.
1001 Nights has
the seventh son of a seventh son is nothing to mess around with. All right. But anyway,
but then you have good monsters like the Pegasus, like Bellerophon, Perseus, and the Pegasus. The Pegasus is a benevolent monster, like a creature, a cryptid. But it's benevolent in the story, and
it's true.
So it's always been. There's always been this part of storytelling. I think that Star Wars is just classic myth. It really is. Journey.
I mean, it's All right. Do you want to end this with a couple of rounds of fun stuff? Not that this
let's
hasn't
do
been
fun
fun.
stuff now. Let's end it with fun stuff. Let's do top 3 favorite alien non-human characters, and let's do the quick monster game at the.
I know Grant has a monster game that Ben and I are going to fail
game.
at, but we're excited to play.
Yeah, it'll be fun because I picked the most obscure creatures that I'm hoping you guys.
I hope so too. It's going to be a lot of no. What's that, Grant? Tell us. No, let's see.
Yeah,
we'll
if we
see
haven't
what we
already said them, I'm like,
I don't want to be that guy either. So I hope.
No. I'm looking forward to. I don't care. I have no shame with this stuff. There's so many. All right. So what we did was we thought about kind of. We'll each go through, do a quick round robin of our 3 favorite non-human characters in Star Wars. Anyone want to go first? Do you want me to go first? There you go, Ben, go.
I'll go first, and I'm gonna do this because it's I have a similar thing. This is actually for number 3. Rocket Del actually reminded me how much I love this character, and Rocket Del. This is their favorite character as well, and that is Figrin Dan. He does love the Bith. Our favorite
nice
Bith music player. The Bith are kind of amazing because it seems like they've got a musical thing, and that's kind of it. So
Wait,
Dan,
you picked
modal modes.
You picked one for Rocket Del. You didn't.
Yeah, it was a.
Well, I mean, there's some.
This is your number 1. This is your number 3. This is your
number
three.
Number 3. Let's not go crazy.
I did love the Jizz Whalers. Like I am a fan.
I mean,
don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he was with
music
the
is the
modal
best music.
modes. Actually, I don't know about the who the Jizz.
No, that's the style.
sorry.
That's the style of music.
Oh, it's Jizz Whale.
The name of the band is Modal Nose. They
Everyone
play
loves
jizz music.
Right.
Let's be clear.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Funky Figrin Dan.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll go. I mean,
go for it, right?
we've already talked about my number 1, but my number 3, I've got to say is I'm gonna go Ahsoka Tano. I think the design, through the design, the character, just who she is just, and then now in live action, I'm just enthralled by that.
Yeah.
Got to be one of my favorite non-human characters of all time.
That's such a good pick. I love that character too, and my mind does a disconnect between the animated and the live action, and I try not to do that. I enjoy the animated, but like I've always loved her, and Hera is another character I really love too. But like seeing her in live action is just really solidified. It's like, oh, that's just an amazing Star Wars character.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3. I don't want to follow that up. But my number 3 is Tian Madoon. Anyone know who Tian Madoon is?
I got nothing.
Don't do this to me.
To be fair, I had to Google what is the name of the Powin from episode 3. It's the Powin from episode 3
the
that we talked about
leader
earlier.
who's like he's up on the 7th floor.
Yes. That character
didn't say.
Exactly. We don't have a lot of fighters. It's such a great character. The design is amazing. We already talked about it before. I love this character because it's another red herring. He looks quote unquote evil, right? Looks like a bad guy, and is clearly just someone who is a leader and extremely scared of being like taken. Like his basically taking advantage by the white people. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just this amazing, like it just is this quick role reversal of like, oh no, this dude's great. Like
he's the cowardly vampire.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the acting, I love everything else. And I still remember sitting again seeing episode 3 midnight showing, loving it at first, then kind of going, okay, what are we doing here? And then the second this episode, the second we get to this point, I'm like, I am back on board. Like this is awesome. So that's my number 3.
That's a good one. I think I've got to go Geode on for next one. The vintage.
I love it.
Just because
I love it.
I mean,
all right.
Just Claudia Gray, just like the jokes, the rock jokes.
Yeah,
so good.
If you aren't reading the High Republic, I suggest check out the novelizations. They're amazing. But they created this character. He's a navigator. He's a rock named Geode, but is very sentient and
rock.
And the rock jokes forever. Are amazing. They're amazing.
he can also make himself. What would we learn in the last book? He can. How did they phrase it? But he can make it so he basically repels.
Yeah, he can like magnetize himself because he's like mineral.
Blaster
he's not even
shots.
like
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more of that, where they have like this sort of amorphous characters.
Yeah.
There was a great one in the Princess of Alderaan book. There was a couple of like really interesting alien species in that book that go on with Leia and her journey. They're great, but I like this sort of let's push the boundaries more than just like, okay, it's a human with a funny mask. Like, let's do some wild things. But Geode is a great contribution to the world of aliens.
My number 2, guys, is our favorite Quirmian, Jarl Poof. No,
Jarl Poof.
No, not really. My number 2 is. I mean, he's definitely.
As bad. I didn't. Think of it.
He's near to my heart. Admiral Akbar. I mean, we're talking about
Skull Akbar. Okay.
Human characters. Gotta be Akbar, dude. Like, it's my idea of war in Star Wars. Like, just the music, the Rebel Fleet theme, and just him moving around in that chair like that. So good. So good. Like, I'll take that all day, every day.
I think I quote Akbar almost every day. And I know it's like played out, but it's not. Like, I was just never, like, whenever I feel like the wall is closing in around, or like that I'm getting into like a tough spot, or it just like, I just am always brought joy because then I get to say, that's a trap.
Yeah.
And I'll say it around anybody, and maybe I look like an idiot, but I'm laughing on the inside. So,
oh, Rebel fighters, pull up.
Yeah. Our ships can't handle.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was
ships
my,
can't handle firepower of that
idea
magnitude.
That was like the theme that I would hum like in my head. That was all about Akbar for a very long time.
He's the guy.
That's why when he's got short shrift in 8, like that is part of like that is it's going in my critique. Like I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
That was one I was like, whoa.
That was my guy. That was like I grew up with that guy a lot.
Yeah, I have a rebuttal to that, but I won't get to it now. But I the guy had 3 seconds of scream time in the last movie died. Oh no. So anyway,
at least have him say, "Oh," like a scream. Give me like an Akbar scream.
It truly was a trap. Sorry.
Just so I know, just so I had like their screen presence. So
well, I think my biggest critique is I'm like, wait, he died? Like I almost didn't realize he died until my second viewing. Do you know what I mean? Because it was just like you're so focused on Leia in that scene that like it wasn't until a second I'm like, oh no, Akbar.
Right.
I don't know. Akbar meant a lot to me, but Leia meant.
No, Akbar is great. I love that pick. I think Akbar is amazing, and they've done such good work with him in the expanded universe as well. Like I just think he's such an important character, and his work and I mean I don't know if it's in New EU, but being under the heel of the Empire for so long, like I think they make him almost like a Nelson Mandela like character in some ways.
Yes, somehow. Right.
Yeah.
Like
so it's really such interesting work.
And also, similarly, here's a little pop quiz for you all. How do you spell Admiral Akbar's first name?
Gail.
Gial. You're correct. It is Gail. It is Gail Akbar, but it's Gial. So if you ever get into a trivia thing, and I have a friend that this happened to, remember it's Gial.
Yeah, I would have gotten that one wrong too. Oof. So what is that? Gial?
It's Gail. It's Gail.
Gail, but you can't say that. That's not how you say. Anyway,
it's Guile.
I would have been yelling.
Guile.
I would have been drunk and yelling at the person running trivia, and then swiftly kicked out of the bar. So
again,
to follow that up, my number 2 is Wat Tambor.
Oh, nice. Yes, you do love Wat Tambor.
I do love Wat Tambor.
Do they have a species name? Is there?
They sure do. And this made me love him. This made me bump him up from number 3 to number 2. He is a Skakonian from the planet of Skako.
Oh wow! So big Ska
fan.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna out myself as a fan of Ska.
Is that Skako minor system?
It is, and it's spelled Skako, and Ska is spelled Ska. Like it's spelled like the music genre, which is my favorite musical genre of all time. So I'm like,
That's
I loved
amazing.
him. I knew I loved him. I didn't know why. Now I really know why.
I do, because on the weekends he wears funny shoes and checkered pants, and
Oh.
yeah.
I
Cool.
mean, I'm literally
It's
wearing
horrifying.
a sweater for Bad Time Record Company, which is my favorite current, really liberal ska record label right now. Check them out, Bad Time Records. Check out
Gosh.
We Are the Union. They're doing the work.
Far
Let's
out.
hear it. Let's hear it, Ben.
All right, so this has got to be my number one. It's so hard to pick one, but I think you
Yeah.
guys called me out. Now that I know that you guys are taking this seriously, I was gonna go with like
going-
Nico.
I mean, if we did makeup, like favorite application, like
I
prosthetic.
mean, it's such a hard,
that'd be
like, what
interesting.
makes it your favorite, right? Like, it's.
I
it's
know.
hard.
Honestly, I really love Nico from Resistance. I know neither of you choose him.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
he's
That's a
the
great
Nikto.
pick.
Yeah, it's
He's
a good,
kinda
it's a good
great.
character.
Quality comedy. I would say like per minute comedy. He's
Yeah.
like, dropping lines, dude. He is on fire.
Yeah, he really carried that show
The
at a lot. Of
puns.
times. It was hilarious. And I wanted to give him a shout, but I mean, I think I got to go. I mean, if we're being serious, Nine Nub, Nine Nub.
Yeah.
Wah. He's just
Been
great.
the number 191 nub stan on this podcast for a
Yeah,
while.
he's great. Definitely playing Battlefront 1 made me love him more because he just like smokes fools. And Solist is actually a great
Yeah,
it's a
such
great
cool backstory.
in it. Yeah. There's great stories around Solist actually. It's a fascinating planet. I would love to have a story, but like why can't the Mandalorian have to go and like find a special weapon?
It's sort of like a
Or
shipbuilding
something.
world, right? Like a
Yeah.
shipyard. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of imposed on them, and we know in the High Republic we see the very beginnings of them becoming a ship.
And they build Star Destroyers there. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Kuat's there or something, but they're
Yeah,
shipyards.
sounds
Kuop shipyards are there, I think. But I think they started like I think we're gonna find in High Republic that the Sullus started making their sort of naval fleet for the Republic, and then I think the Empire just sucked all the minerals and resources out of the planet. So it's kind of like a volcanic dead world by the time the stuff comes around. And we find out in various books that Nine Nub was an early Resistance member and started on his planet and was the leader of the Resistance on Sullust against the Empire, and then sort of graduated to the True Rebellion, and was pretty awesome co-pilot for Lando Calrissian in Return of the Jedi, and then tragically shot down in the last battle, but did drive the what is it the Yavin? I'm sorry.
The blockade
The crew-
runner,
Blockade runner.
or the
Blockade runner. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Tantive.
The Tantive.
4?
Correct. Tantive 4. Yeah. I was like, it's something 4. I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
the Tantive 4.
Um,
And maybe have died. I know. I mean, it looked like he got pretty electrocuted and was definitely falling out of the sky.
It was unclear. I kept trying to like bolster your hope by checking Wikipedia for like weeks and weeks and weeks after episode 9. But I think if you go on
doesn't he
Wikipedia now,
overtly die in
it-
episode
it-
9?
it
Isn't
it
there, like,
officially
an
has him
explosion?
as
Yeah.
dying.
He kind of got an Akbar death, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, I'll stop talking. You guys do your
Uh,
one.
Well, mine's obvious. It's Yoda, obviously, number 1. But that's Frank Oz, just, spellbinding performance from Frank Oz. I'm just a huge fan of his work. In episode 8, in Empire, every time in Return of the Jedi, like every time he comes to Star Wars, it's special. And I hope we get more in the future. I mean, I think he's be excited to come back. If Obi-Wan, if he's going to be an Obi-Wan, if we're going to get some Yoda and Obi-Wan, that'd be great. Hopefully it's as good as what Ryan wrote for him in 8, because I think there's a really high bar now, and it's always remained high. So it's like, it's very hard to do that character, but if you do that character, it could be a really fun time.
Yeah, I bet Favreau had the similar feeling. It was just like, you know what, I can't write Yoda, but I want to have a creature with the same sort of power.
Sure. Yeah.
And and obviously created Grogu. But I don't think there's a better creature there than Yoda. I mean, or a better alien.
Yeah, non-human. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's good. That's amazing. Can't go wrong with Yoda. So I swear I took mine serious. I was thinking about part of me is I had trouble of I had trouble choosing something like Chewie, right? Like, because it's just like that character
Chewie's
means
such a good pick, though.
but it means so much. It's so hard to be like, that's my favorite. Because like it's like I'm trying to think of like what like by pre narrowing it down by saying non-alien, right? Or non-human.
Yeah.
I started thinking of like, because it's weird, like my mind didn't think of Chewie originally because I'm like, Chewie's just Chewie. You know what I mean?
Neither did I.
It's hard, right?
The family,
and and so I just did it real quick. But my number one alien non-human character is and I just think about how I reacted first when I saw him and how much I've been obsessed with him is Zuckuss.
Oh, nice.
And part of it is like I just will always think about. I mean, you both know my obsession with Forlom and Zuckuss, right? Like I just those are the characters I want to see the most. They better show up in some
maybe
iteration of the Mandalorian. I just they were so alien.
Yeah.
If you think about it in terms of like because prior to and we saw in episode 4. We saw some insect-like characters in the cantina, but they were kind of janky looking and really quick, like just quick shots. And this was just like, what is that thing? Like, I just still, and I think I remember when we were at like, we went to Rhode Island Comic-Con and we had, like, we went to the creatures panel. I just had that question because it was all the people that were part of the cantina scene. And I had that question of just like, why is this 4 seconds of film so impactful? Like, you know.
Because you can't even get your brain around what you're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, I wore my VHS copy out of Empire, just pausing on that scene, like because I just was obsessed.
All of them. They all look amazing.
Yeah, and trying to draw them and just trying to figure out what's going on. Because again, it's for us, for me, it was pre-internet. Like there was like some of the reference books, but it was just like, what are those things?
Right.
I know. Bosco's on my list too because it's just like the feet talons hanging over the ledge in that scene was just like. I was just like, what? It was awesome.
But I just learned a new fact about the Gand, which is the Zuckuss, which is the species to which Zuckuss belongs. Yeah. There are 2 species of Gands. There's the breathing Gands, which is what Zuckuss belongs to. And then there are the non-breathing Gand.
They don't breathe?
Apparently they do not. They do not need to breathe to maintain life. And this is from Wikipedia. They draw its sustenance by absorption from its food intake. So apparently it gets its oxygen from consuming food, which
I want to be that creature.
Is maybe a thing that can happen. I don't know. However, the most interesting fact is, and I quote, members of the subspecies approximated speech by modulating the sounds of their flatulences.
So they talk with their farts.
Yes. So this now doubles down on why Zuckuss is my number one. Now, granted, he doesn't fart to speak, but he's related to people that fart to speak.
Speak with farts.
All the better.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay.
I'm so glad we ended on a high note.
No, we have one more game.
Oh, that's right. We do have the game. Thank God. I didn't want to go out on that.
I mean, like, there's some honorable shout outs, like, I think we need to make just quickly before we leave this section, which is like Oppo Rancisis.
Yeah. I mean, Jarl Poof was on my short Mother Proxima.
Brindalid or something. Like she's and that's
Mayor Mock Shaiz was gonna be like
Shaiz,
I also had Bib
Fortuna.
I had Bib Fortuna on my short list too. Bib Fortuna. I just love how gross he is.
Yeah. Shout out to Bib. Yeah, shout out to all the Twi'lek characters. There's a lot of Twi'leks. Twi'leks are
a lot of diversity within the Twi'leks.
There's a lot of exposure, like a lot of Twi'lek exposure in Star Wars. It's kind of it's definitely part of the brand at this point.
Shout out to Garfalaquox, just because his name's Garfalaquox.
Good name. Yes, that's a great name.
God. Duros and Cad Bane and all that stuff. And obviously in the High Republic.
Shiv. Remember Shiv?
Sorry.
Shiv from Battlefront 2.
Battlefront. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, and then quickly, like, into the High Republic, there's some incredible non-human characters in there. We have like what do we have? We have like Pre-Tree Veter is like the Grand Master of the council. Yeah, he's his Ab. You got like Estala Maru on Starlight Beacon. You have and if you're reading the High Republic comic adventures. You got Farzala and Court. Those are great looking new non characters. Just shout out to High Republic and Skier.
We didn't do news today, which we said we were going to do, and then I promptly skipped it. But we are
probably for the best because real
I know
long.
we're already at an hour and a half. But yeah, in October 17th, we're going to get a illustrated book, The Art of the High Republic, which I cannot wait to purchase.
Agreed.
And Nicholas Breital signed on to Andor to do the score. Love that composer. That was big news for me. And the John Watts Favreau news, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
But you guys ready for this creature spotting game?
Yes, let's do it, man. Creature spotting.
All right, let's get ready. Listeners, you can
ready to be stumped.
I tried to pick some obscure creatures, and I will just say the creature name, the species name. I will not if that's all you'll get. And then you'll get 1 point if you name the film or television episode that this creature appears in, and you'll get 2 points if you can describe the scene.
What's scaring me is the television episode.
I'll tally it.
But let's do it.
I'll tally it. But okay, number one. I guess I don't know. Do you guys want to just just yell it out?
We'll just yell it out.
Yeah, we'll yell it
out.
Okay.
Well, whoever yells it out first, Adam. I'm sure we'll both know this right off.
We'll be going right at the bat. I'm sure, right at the bat.
Yeah. I just need to type a couple things into Google.
The first creature. Here we go. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Where do we see the Hapabor?
Episode 7.
It's the one that's episode 2.
Water.
Episode 2. It's the things that they ride.
Yeah, Adam already got it. It's giant boar, the pig drinking out of the trough, and
that's the Hapabor
right next to it. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I thought.
I'm just so glad I got one right because now when I get
the scene,
none of the
you got
rest.
the movie and the scene, so you got 2 on that one.
Okay,
I'll tally it here. Okay, next creature. Where do we see the massive? And there's two correct. There's actually there's.
So we've seen the massive a couple times.
There's multiple ways you can get 2 points.
Is it episode 2? And are those the dogs that the Tuscans have?
Correct.
Adam!
I swear to God, I'm not typing anything into anything. I'm not.
Wow. All right, here we go. Next one. I'm trying to pick obscure creature names here. We're really trying to be obscure here. Where do you see the Myron? The Myron or the Mayron?
I got nothing on this one.
Nothing. Got nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound familiar.
Nothing?
Yeah, nothing. I got nothing. I don't even have a
guess. Is it a cousin of the Minot?
Myran is the name of the species that Borgullet is.
All right. Never would have gotten that. Yeah,
Myran.
This is Grant memorizes all the books.
These are weird ones. These are strange ones. So okay.
Nice.
Okay, here we go. Where do we see the Cowhoon? The Cowhoon.
It's not a charhound, right? It's
That sounds really familiar. That's
these are all creatures.
Oh
yes.
Come
on. Put me out of my
mom brain. Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. It's no. What is it, Grant?
Cowhoon is one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. Is one of the most poisonous, venomous, deadliest.
Oh, is it the Viper from episode 9? No. I got nothing.
It is the centipede-like insect that Zam Wessel deploys into Senator Padme Amidala's bedroom while she's sleeping.
It's making me real hard not swearing on this.
But now. They don't say that in the movies, right? You have to.
No.
You have to basically go deep. Yeah.
I knew I got to get that Aliens and Monsters book because.
All right, here we go. You know where I'm pulling this from. Where do we see the Lugabeast? The Lugabeast.
I know this. I don't know this.
feel like
know
it's
this.
another episode 2 Lugga Beast.
No. Oh. Is it episode 7? Is it? God darn it! Is it the thing? It's okay. It's episode 7. It's Jakku.
Oh wait, it's the thing that the guy rides in the
Tibu. That Tebow is riding.
The guy that rides through
Correct.
the desert.
Correct. So I'm gonna give you both one.
We each get one. That was the joint. That was
It's
team
in
effort.
Lug's gear. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I was literally like, Lug, what's lugging? What
I was
piece is
trying to-
lugging?
Okay.
I forget that, but she's like the guy that tries to steal BB-8. Right?
Is it Tebow? What's his name?
Tito. Yeah.
Tito.
And fascinatingly enough, Tito is actually the name of his species.
Oh, that's right. But also
Tito
his name,
the
right?
Tito?
Isn't Tito the Tito?
Yeah, Tito is a Tito.
That sounds racist to me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
I didn't write
race
it.
Politics are really,
Yeah.
in the gutter
Yeah.
in this film. And then so that is that. You guys both got one on that. Let's do one more here.
Nice.
Let's do a couple more here. The Kintan Strider. There's
Gosh.
multiple correct answers for this.
Oh,
I was gonna
multiple.
say is this on from Rebels on the main world there? No. The Strider. Oh wait, no, or is this a High
Kintan
Republic?
Strider.
I know this one.
All right. I can give you guys a hint on this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
you gotta
actually won't
give us a-
affect.
Yeah,
You
I
never.
need a hint
I
'cause
don't
got
think we
nothing.
see this. I don't think we see this creature in live action.
No.
It's not something we actually see on screen
All
in
right.
live action. Living. We don't see a living, breathing version of this creature.
Based on the hint, I have a guess. It's
So
a
we
way
see
out.
a dead one?
It's a way out there guess.
Sure.
Not way out there, but I'm just kind of like shot in the dark. Is it episode 4? And is it during the virtual? Why can't I think it was called the virtual chess scene, or episode
Yes.
7?
The Jarek. Yes.
The Jarek.
Correct.
table.
Did you-
Correct. That's 2 points.
Oh my
That-
god.
All right.
No, give me 1 point on that because I got the
Okay.
hint. Like that was not because to be fair, I've never heard that before. I never would have gotten that, but your hint was enough. I'm trying to think of like when have we seen not like creatures in
Wow. I was
person,
thinking
and
it
it's
was something in like Jabba's like throne room where like mounted on the wall.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Kintan
not.
Strider
I'm
is
getting
one of the pieces
No,
of
but
the
good
Jarek
guess.
board.
Yeah.
Jon
Okay,
Snowing this one.
We'll do 2 more here. Where do we see the shock? The shock.
SHAK.
Is that episode 2? And is that in the Taranaki Arena? Is that one of the creatures in Taranaki Arena?
No.
No. Okay.
But you're warm. Ish.
It's not in Rebels on the plane. I'm grasping at straws here.
Wait.
Wait.
What did you say? What did you say?
In Rebels and like
No.
one of the like.
Okay.
No.
However, again, context clues. I'm close. And then Grant just reacted to the term planes.
Yeah.
Are those weird bulbous animals in episode 2
Yeah.
that Anakin is riding on top of during their
Exactly.
courting scene?
Oh, that was what I thought
That's
the
exactly-
other things were. The shock.
Yeah, they are the kind of like bovine, like
Yeah.
bloated.
I will take a point for that.
that
Does it matter
have
if
air.
it's 10-1 or 13-1?
Yeah, just trying to play honest and fair.
He's already
We're giving
dead.
Adam 1. How about that? So it's not like
Yeah.
1,000,000 to 1 here. Or where do we see the Famba? The Famba.
Famba? Yeah, this is definitely
I don't know.
nothing. Any hints on this? That does not sound familiar.
Prequel
Prequel.
trilogy.
All right. Well, if you said if we get the movie, we get a point, right?
But
Yes. Yeah.
All
you get
right.
right.
Yeah,
So
I guess,
in
yeah.
So now it's a game of chicken
3,
between Ben and I. Who
Yeah.
wants to say the first one?
3-2-1.
I'll just guess episode 3.
Okay, Ben, you want to throw in?
I was also yeah.
I'll say, I know. I'll give you this, Adam. No, 0 points.
Oof. 0
Oh,
points. All right,
great.
Ben. You got 50-50 here.
Episode 2.
Actually, episode maybe actually.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Oh wow, it might be in episode 3. I might have to look at the replay on that. Honestly,
Do we really?
I have to replay on that.
That feels real cheap.
I don't think. I don't think
Adam's already emptied his bench.
I have
and
to
is
look at
letting
the
them play
very
against me at
end
this point.
of that movie. But that should give you a hint, Ben.
At the end of that movie, yeah. I don't know. Is it Mustafar? No.
No.
I got nothing, man.
The Famba are those giant brontosaurus creatures that the Gungans employ to generate the shields. In,
Oh. Wow.
Never knew that.
No. Yeah.
At the
I
end
never.
of the funeral scene? They're not in the funeral scene anywhere, standing, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Or
I don't think so.
are they dragging the litter?
Yeah, I thought they were like. There's
Oh,
something
maybe.
pulling Padme. It's
I mean,
not,
if that's
they're
true,
way small.
like,
They're way small.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it was that. It
No.
might have been though.
I mean,
Um,
I'll take a point if you're willing to give it, but I don't think that's. I think
I'm
yeah,
Yeah, I'm enjoying learning in this. But,
yeah, no,
yeah,
this is fun. I like half of these I've heard, and then like it's amazing how much
some of them are
I've
tough.
read
I'm trying to
every
pick.
single
I'm trying
Star
to
Wars
pick the,
book
I
or
think the most
something.
difficult ones. Like,
Yeah.
we'll do. All right. Well, do you guys have time for a couple
How
more?
about-
Or you guys
I
want-
love how like okay, two more. Okay, two more after that. Two
I
more.
can find them.
How
On the,
about
I can
put
find
me out
the
of my
clear ones on the
misery?
plot. We'll do one more. Let's just do one
So
more.
one-
All right.
Everyone get ready. Where do we see the EOP?
Oh, that is
Oh,
the,
that's
in that
episode-
Tatooine and that farts. It's the
Okay,
thing
bet.
that
Yeah,
farts.
yeah.
There we go. So that's a
There
okay.
you go.
He gave me a token.
There we go. 7-3.
No.
That's not too bad. That's really not too bad. I think that was a good matchup.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Adam, hats off. That was impressive.
I mean, to be fair, I got like 4 of those 7 right up front. Like I started strong, and then I was kind of stumbling for the rest of it.
That was a good one. Good.
That's
pull.
fun.
No,
The
those are fun.
EOP I thought would be hard, but that once I said it, I was like, oh yeah, we've talked about that. I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already talked about flatulence on this podcast already.
It's true. Why don't we end?
My head was already there.
where we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried to get us out of that tailspin, and we're right back to farting.
We did it. We did it, guys. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us in this podcast. Just it's fun traveling across the whole galaxy and the whole timeline that we know, and thinking about what brings them all together and doing this. So, talk to us on Discord. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Get at us. We'll try and throw some whatever our thoughts are this week up there in real time. But otherwise, thanks so much for listening to us. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week. And as always, may the force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorld News on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.